would not lie down. On the streets of Soweto a great cry was heard, and the poor white man's forehead was creased with a frown. It's not what he planned, he just can't understand why those crappies, they would not lie down. Those crappies who would not lie down. Those crappies who would not lie down. Oh, when all said and done, you know, freedom is won by crappies who would not lie down. In Central America there they would strive to rid themselves free of the Washington clown. Oh, freedom's the games and in East is the name of those crappies who would not lie down. Those crappies who would not lie down. Those crappies who would not lie down. Oh, when all said and done, you know, freedom is won by those crappies who would not lie down. So here's to the women and here's to the men in every land, every village and town, who know what is right and are willing to fight like those crappies who would not lie down. Those crappies who would not lie down. Those crappies who would not lie down. Oh, when all said and done, you know, freedom is won by the crappies who would not lie down. Those crappies who would not lie down. Those crappies who would not lie down. Oh, when all said and done, you know, freedom is won by the crappies who would not lie down. Thank you.
Well, the President represents Ireland on the world stage.
Why should Katherine Connelly be Uachtaráin na hÉireann?
Well, the President represents Ireland on the world stage.
I believe the President of Ireland should be a moral compass and a light in troubled times.
I feel we need a President that is steadfast in their values.
We need
who
somebody
understands that housing is a human right and not an investment opportunity.
We need somebody that can stand up for the people of Ireland.
Bechor Gemein Uachtaráin mar chut na Níní.
When I see the images of kids and what's happened to them in Palestine, it just breaks my heart to see them. The government needs to listen to what the people have been saying on these marches now for nearly 2 years.
My mum was a single parent, worked really hard just to put a roof over our heads and support just the two of us, and even at that sometimes it wasn't enough. We have had faced evictions because landlords were selling the house for overseas developers.
We really lost our communities in Ireland, and that's because no one can lay a root anywhere. There's no security.
I served in the Irish military 22 years, including in the Sinai Desert and Cyprus. Experienced war firsthand, but also experienced the value of Irish neutrality. I have 8 grandchildren. I am deeply, deeply concerned about the future of the younger generation, both in Ireland and globally.
Katherine Connelly is raising her voice, but as she says herself, this isn't about getting to the Irish. This is
to empower people to find their own voices.
I'm raising my voice for my community.
I'm raising my voice for Gaza.
I'm raising my voice for safe, secure homes for all.
I'm raising my voice for my generation.
I'm raising my voice for carers and people with disabilities.
For hope.
For everyone who calls Ireland home.
I just want to thank you all for taking courage in your hand, sharing your stories and raising your voice. This election is about a movement for a new type of Ireland, about a movement to make the Republic of Ireland a reality.
Giagaíomh Gallair, it's Misha Rory McKiernan, and it's an absolute huge honour to be here on what I've absolutely no doubt in my mind is a historic night. It's a night when the spark has already been lit, but it's about to go stratospheric. Are you with me? Yes. So we can all clearly feel that crackle in the air. For me, that crackle, that smell, that whisper, it is that new Ireland that Catherine's talking about. It's that new Ireland that is being born, that new Ireland that is on its way, that new Ireland that we've been dreaming of, that we've been calling for, that we've been marching for, that we look to for a light in the dark, in the storm. As we sit here tonight, we have colleagues and comrades at the Dáil in solidarity with others that are on the flotilla, making their way to one of the darkest times in all of humanity. Provide aid and relief and a message of love, a message of courage, a message of kindness, and a message of resistance that we don't have to put up with this, that we can believe and build in other ways. And how we do that, I think we've already seen just a moment ago, is Lekela, is we do it together and we see this great, unique coming together. And it is historic. We're all going to look back, mark my words, you'll be meeting me on some random street, somewhere in some random town saying, do you remember that night? You know, we have to dare to dream. So let's believe in the dream, and for just a handful of days, weeks, and hours, make this possible, where we elect Katherine Connelly as our next president. So before we continue, I do want to say a big bullabus to Eva Carroll and Maeve Mulligan, who are absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. It was like a call from ancient Ireland rising up tonight, getting us ready to rock, ready for battle. So I've been handed a brown envelope, which is never a great idea. Within the brown envelope was a note, which I think I've already displaced, and it says in it, 1 minute left, please finish up. And unfortunately, it's the challenge of being what you might call Concordia or last Concordia. Have you any tips? So, thank you. So our great lineup of guests this evening, you'll all recognise them, have 5 minutes each. So I'm going to ask everyone to respect the time as best you can. And if you see me shuffling to the side, you know you might be in a bit of bother in a minute. So we're going to start off, and I'm going to firstly welcome Deputy Holly Cairns back from her maternity leave, and invite her onto the podium. Thank you, Holly.
Good evening, everyone. It is so brilliant to see so many people here tonight from all parties and none, and for one simple reason: to elect Katherine Connelly as the next President of Ireland. Back in the spring, when I thought about who I wanted to be the next President, Katherine was the first person that came to mind. And when we reached out to our members in the Social Democrats, that name came back above all others, time and time again, Katherine Connelly. The presidency matters. The presidency represents who we are as a people, and perhaps more fundamentally than that, it represents who we want to be. I feel so lucky to have had presidents in my lifetime like Michael D. Higgins, like Mary Robinson, who represented us so well on an international stage and spoke out when it mattered. It's really important that we continue to be proud of the person who holds the office of president, and that is why we're all here tonight. Katherine's record speaks for itself. She's dedicated her whole life to using her voice on issues like disability, climate, housing, and on Gaza, to standing up for the most marginalised. Katherine had always been a voice that I admired in politics, but it really wasn't until I entered Leinster House that I, A, discovered how incredibly warm and sound she is, and B, appreciated the very unique position that she holds. Dull debates can sometimes make you lose faith in the system. Far too often you're speaking to an empty chamber, or one that may as well be for as much as people are actually listening to each other. But that's never the case when Katherine speaks. Because when Katherine stands up to speak, although she's so softly spoken, everyone listens. That's because there is a quiet, unshakable strength to Katherine. You know that she's considered the issue deeply on a legal and on a moral level. You know that she'll be heartfelt and that she will cut through in a way that no one else can. And you know that she will always speak truth to power. The genocide in Gaza has exposed the cowardice of our so-called world leaders. It's almost impossible to believe. It is unbearable to watch. Katherine has always been an advocate for the rights and the dignity of the Palestinian people. She has stood up, spoken out, and demanded action time and time again. Katherine is the only presidential candidate who understands that neutrality doesn't mean standing aside. It means standing up for peace, for dialogue, for human rights, and for international law. We need someone in the Áras who truly represents us and who will show real leadership. We need someone who will shine a light on injustice to bring us together as a nation, north and south, and inspire us all to do better. Katherine Connelly is that person. It's inspiring to see so many of you here tonight. I can feel the momentum building behind this campaign. It's an exciting time for us all to work together to elect the next Uachtaráin na hÉireann, Katherine Connelly. Katherine, I want to take a moment to thank you for putting yourself forward. We all know that a presidential campaign isn't easy. It can be brutal, and I'm just so, so grateful to have someone like you to campaign for and someone like you to vote for. I also want to thank Katherine's team for facilitating me and allowing me to speak as early as possible tonight. It's my first night away from the baby since I went back from maternity leave, and I might have to run out of here now because I'm already a bit late for her bedtime. Just another reminder, not that we needed one, that we need more Mná in public life. But before I go, I'm asking you all to spread the word. Talk to your friends, talk to your family, donate, knock on doors, share online, do whatever you can. Let's show Ireland that politics can still be about hope, can be about decency, and can be about courage. Let's make sure that when people look to the Áras, they see a president who inspires us all. Let's get Katherine Connelly elected. Thank you so, so much. Thank
you so much, Holly. Thank you. So next up, we're going to invite Deputy Marie Sherlock.
Katherine Connelly, I am delighted to be here, to be sharing this platform with our colleagues across the left this evening, and to be able to offer our support in the Labour Party to you to become the next President of Ireland. I want to thank you for putting your name forward, because I know that that decision requires real courage and indeed bravery, a lot of exposure in terms of the campaign itself. But as you know, for us in the Labour Party, we are hugely proud of the presidencies of Mary Robinson and Michael D. Higgins. We passionately believe that the role of president carries immense moral power and influence. It is a role that arguably has never been more important, giving hope at a time of despair and leadership in a world that feels like it's gone mad. So fáilte mór ó crí, imlachli ó lár, agus go háire go complex, oid anna speisialta agus tábhachtach den na halína sa cathair seo. For many years, Katherine, I have admired your tireless passion for social justice and your unequivocal, uncompromising commitment to achieving greater fairness in our country. When it wasn't popular to speak up on certain issues like women's rights, on the right to choose, you were there advocating alongside a small number of others. The beauty of us all on this stage is that we certainly don't agree on everything. In fact, I think we could probably squabble about lots of things all night long. But we all know about the power of the collective. As trade unionists, as activists and campaigners, we know that together we can be greater, we should be greater than the sum of our individual parts. There is a broad, common set of values here, not just a rejection of the current government, but actual common ground on the need for decent working conditions, climate action that actually benefits all, commitment to an active state, a shared island, an end to war, and peace in the Middle East. This election is about a choice for those who want to cling to the certain and safe things in life, and there will be candidates. There are candidates for that. But for the hundreds of thousands of others in this country out there who want a voice to speak out, who want a president to speak the uncomfortable truths, who want a president to lead with moral courage and, crucially, to give people hope, then we need to see Katherine Connelly elected as a next Uachtarán na hÉireann. We live in a world right now where there's a real danger that workers' rights, climate action, privacy rights are all going to be cast aside in the name of staving off economic uncertainty. We live in a world, in a city where some try to use our flag as a symbol of hate and division and intimidation, where intolerance and racism is growing, where the basic right to a home is becoming ever more distant reality for so many people out there. That is why we need a president who can give voice to those who feel they don't have a voice, who can give voice to the real challenges in our society, who can give voice to the terrible, terrible injustice that is happening in our world right now. For many years in the trade union movement and the Labour Party, I have been party to conversations about forming a common left platform. Tonight and this campaign is very much about that. Katherine, bevralam gach rachwi ortsa, nílam in ein auras, cad sais dúthlán os argór, ach tám salerinish, ní nheart go cur le céile. Araig le Katherine, Connelly for President.
Whoa, things are getting fairly heated up now. I do want to say that as we gather here and as we hear from our speakers, there are canvassers out all over Ireland right now. And also that this room was oversubscribed, and I believe we have people watching in Panty Bar. Say hello to them. And we have people watching in YouTube in countries all over the world. So there's a ripple beyond this room that is going out currently. And this campaign, as Katherine well knows, because she's been on how many counties now? I won't put you in the spot. Okay. Many, sound a bit Trump, doesn't it? Many counties. Well, I've been following her closely, and she absolutely has been putting up the miles around. So this campaign is well underway, and Katherine put herself forward much earlier and has been out there. So there's a real grassroots momentum. And now we have a big political momentum coming in behind it, and we have this great consolidation happening here tonight. So this is something truly, truly special. So on we go, and our next speaker is Deputy Roderic O'Gorman. You're very welcome.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Rory, and good evening, everyone. And on behalf of the Green Party, I'm absolutely delighted to stand here today and endorse Katherine Connelly as our next Uachtaráin na hÉireann. And our party welcomes how Katherine has used her campaign to put a focus on the issues that confront Ireland and the wider world. Issues like climate change, issues like the importance of having strong and resilient communities, and of course, the ongoing genocide in Gaza. And I'm utterly confident that if elected on the 24th of October, Katherine will use the office of President to shine a light on these and so many other important issues. I came to the campaign, and I suppose I came to knowing Katherine somewhat different to some of the other colleagues here tonight. I know colleagues from the Soc Dems and Labour, from PPP and Sinn Féin, they would have worked with Katherine in opposition in the last Dáil term. I, on the other hand, my engagements with her were across the Dáil as a member of the last government. And it was actually in those engagements, in those debates on important issues, debates on difficult issues, that show me that she has the skills needed for this particular role. And first of all, Katherine has always used her voice for those who don't have a voice. On so many issues, survivors of mother and baby homes, people seeking asylum here in Ireland, Cearta Teanga Gaeilge, Katherine has always used her position in the Dáil to bring the attention of us as TDs to people who otherwise would remain completely unseen. And secondly, Katherine has always had a resolute and absolute attention to detail in every debate she's taken place, in every speech she's given. When you face Katherine across the Dáil chamber, she arrives in and she has the books and she has the notes and she has the papers, and they're all around her. She has the report, and you know that she's read it back to front. But you also know she's read 3 other reports that show why this report is wrong. And she can also cite the debate in the Dáil from 1972 that actually showed the way everything should have been done originally. But I can genuinely say there is no other TD in Dáil Éireann is ever as prepared for a debate as Katherine. And not just the ones that get the media attention, every single debate. And this is important because our president has to make significant decisions. Reference of a bill to the Supreme Court, maybe refusing a dissolution of the Dáil. And it's that level of preparation, that attention to detail, that I want to know is present in our Sinn Uachtaráin when those decisions are being made. But finally, I believe Katherine can take up the unifying role as president for all of us. We all know that our next president is going to have to welcome politicians, world leaders, to be honest, many of us in this room won't like. But Katherine has shown that she can undertake those difficult balances while not straying from her own values. And she demonstrated this when she was elected as Last Count Comhairle, sharing debates and votes between government and opposition, always in a fair, always in an impartial manner. So it's these 3 qualities: her commitment to always speaking for the underdog, her attention to the detail of her constitutional duties, and her ability to step beyond opposition into a unifying position. These are the qualities that I want to see in our next president. These are the qualities all of us see in Katherine Connelly, and it's on the basis of these qualities that I and the Green Party will work to deliver as many number ones as we can secure to ensure that Katherine Connelly is elected as the next Uachtaráin na hÉireann. Thank you all very much.
You. So I'm looking forward to all our speakers and have been, but I'm especially looking forward to our next one, Senator Eileen Flynn. Please welcome.
Thanks very much. I haven't got a speech wrote for this evening. Over the last 5 years, I got to work with Katherine as a colleague. I spent 4.5 years next door to her in an office, and I heard when I was in about 6 months she was a clinical psychotherapist, so I wanted to stay away from her. And so, okay, it actually gets worse, I'm only messing. She'd never take the lift with me, she'd always walk the stairs. I found out last year she was a mother of 2. It took me years to get to know her, funny enough. She's a bit like myself. She'll talk about politics and everything else that goes with it, but she's a very private person. And one of the ushers commented to Katherine last week, and we were talking about it over a cup of tea, and that's how we got to know each other, was through the cups of tea, cups of coffee, and for Katherine, I think it's more carrot cake. For me, it's cheesecake, and but she keeps me grounded as a politician, as an independent politician. She keeps me grounded. And talking about politics, I need to thank the Greens, Labour, Sinn Féin, the Soc Dems and People Before Profit and other independents for coming together. And I have to say this, I don't believe for a minute that this is the left uniting, etc. I believe that Katherine united us. United Sinn Féin, Labour, Sinn Féin, Labour, the Greens, Soc Dems. So this was Katherine that did this. And I know from the Shannon election, you have to be a unique person. So already Katherine Connelly has shown her leadership to us by being able to get people to work with her. And I don't believe for 1 minute Katherine wants to be the voice of the underdog. I believe Katherine to listen to the underdog. And Usher said to me last Thursday, after speaking to Katherine has time, Eileen, he said, for the nobodies. And this was last Thursday. I was going home to Donegal. Baveen from Katherine's office rang me the week before last and said, Eileen, will you be the first one to sign Katherine's nominee paper? I was like so overwhelmed, like, yeah, of course I will. And I remember going up to the office, I was shaking, right? So anyway, I signed my name. My father said you were a great scholar once you could do the X, right? But anyway, I did Eileen Flynn, then I did the block, and I said, what house are you in? And I'm like, oh God, help me, I can't spell it, right? So I went completely, just blind. I was like, I can't spell it. So I looked and I felt so embarrassed. I said, Katherine. She goes, what? Spell Shannet. Right? But Katherine made me feel that I wasn't stupid because, I do have dyslexia and trying to hide away from it, but I was caught in the office beside her, and she said to me, there's enough of people out there putting themselves down, and for me, over the last 5 years, while a lot of people in this room would know Katherine for her true to politics, for me, I know her as a friend as well, and I will say she's as stubborn as a friend as she is at politics, right? Because just even in the green room a few minutes ago, I met a comment, and she's like, I didn't ask you for your opinion. So she's very, but I will say, Like, for Katherine, for Katherine, she does speak truth to power. And Bernadette Devlin, another woman that I look up to in politics, her quote is, "We're born into an unjust world. We're not meant to grow up in an unjust world." And for me, the president is someone that can represent us all. My father used to say to me, Lord mercy upon him, "You know, Eileen, you can mix with rough and smooth." And I think Katherine can mix with rough and smooth as well. I actually do. She meets people where they're at. And I think with Katherine, we will get exactly what it says in the tin. When I was 6 years of age, I met Mary Robinson in a refuge in Rathmines with my mother. And I'll never forget that. My daughter is now 6. And a few weeks ago, we were looking through some of the photos, and I was talking to her about the presidential election, and I had a photo with Gerry Adams and Mary Lou and all these brilliant change makers. And Billy looked at me, "So, Mammy, what are you going to be when you grow up?" No, honest to God, no lie. And I was like, "Oh, God." I'd like to still be a politician, Billy. What would you like to be? And she goes, pointing at Katherine, "I want to be," and it just brought me back to that moment. If Katherine was president, we would future-proof our future generation. Somebody that will listen to the young people, somebody that will listen to those on the margins of society and will go to those events that don't get the publicity, etc. For me, Katherine Connelly is a true candidate for the presidential role, and I believe she'd have no problem. She won't ask him for his opinion or anything of the sort, speaking and saying to Trump he's welcome or whatever else that goes with it. But she won't, again, she could represent all of us in this country, very elegant and respectful as well. Just one last thing before I go. The Irish language is very important. I haven't got any words in Irish really, but I will say with Angus O'Snuddick and Katherine Connelly, I've been to a few Irish events, and they've been the translators, so they're telling me back in English what's going on, you know. But I still go. And with Katherine, I never felt out of place because I didn't know Irish. You know, I never felt less because I didn't know Irish. And while the Irish language is very important to Katherine and very important to all of us here in this room, you know, she don't make those of us who don't speak Irish feel any less. And let's not forget, Katherine was the last Camcalia of the Dáil, the first ever woman to take that title. So I think that also shows Katherine's leadership as well. So I would say to people, not only donate to the campaign, which is really important, I would say go out on the 24th and vote. And bring another person with you. Bring one person with you, next door neighbour, go and make plans to go and vote, because you know something, people think working class people like us don't vote and politics don't impact on us. We're clever. My little girl we were playing chess a few weeks ago, and she said to me, "Oh, Mammy," she said, "my first time to play chess, you're cleverer than what you think." Right? I swear to God. And for me, I just want to say that if we were to bring one person with us, you know, we're making sure that 2 of us has voted. So again, I am begging of you from the bottom of my heart, in a very scary world, please, please, please get beside Katherine and behind her. She's exactly what you say in the tin.
Thanks, Eileen. I think Eileen's candidacy might be up for many cycles of 7. We won't get into it. But thanks, Eileen. That was wonderful. And I think what I got a lot from that, I'm sure you all did too, is just that personal testimony of meeting Katherine, the human being. I know this must be slightly cringeworthy for you, Katherine, right? And it's going to get more so, right? But, you know, her CV, we'll get to that more so as well. But The titles, the credentials, they're all important. The vast experience, the clinical psychologist, the barrister, I read the other day.
The
Cleaner, yes. Teacher. Triathlon runner, marathon runner, I read the other day. It was kind of endless, and it's all very impressive, but it could be kind of intimidating in a way. And in one way, what I care most about is what Eileen said, is how do you treat someone when you meet them, whoever they are. And that's who we need in there in the Phoenix Park, is a decent human being with kindness and decency and love in their hearts. And that's what we have here. So, you ready, Paul? Next up, Deputy Paul Murphy.
Thanks a lot, Rory. And thanks everybody. I mean, really thanks, Katherine. Katherine's not someone who asked for this, who wants the limelight, who wants to be in the media. Katherine's doing this for us. So thanks a lot, Katherine. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to the people in Dublin South West that are out canvassing tonight in Woodstown. Thanks to the people in Pantybar. Thanks to the people who are watching online. Thanks to the thousands and thousands of volunteers who are going to win this election campaign. Together, on a personal note, genuinely, this rally, this campaign gives me hope. And hope, certainly for me sometimes, as an eco-socialist who follows the news, can be a pretty rare and pretty valuable commodity. Because the truth is, we live in a very dark time. We have for 2 years had a genocide live streamed on our phones. And we're the ones who are aware of that, who are conscious of it, who are horrified by it. We know that the forces of the far right, backed by some of the richest people in the world, who would spread hate and division and racism, are on the rise. We know that this capitalist system is dragging us deeper and deeper into ecological catastrophe. And the powers that be would like to squish out all hope. Their mantra is and always has been, there is no alternative. There is no choice but to go along with whatever the market says must happen. And what Katherine's campaign, in my opinion, is about is saying, no, there is a choice. There is a hope. And in very, very simple terms, people have a choice in this election. They have a choice between a candidate who will speak out with moral clarity about Palestine, including saying that no, it is not up to Keir Starmer, who represents the Palestinian people. It's actually up to the Palestinian people themselves. Versus a president who will applaud whatever cynical maneuver the government engages in what is fundamentally an exercise in triangulation between the public support for Palestine and the pressure of US imperialism, the positions of Donald Trump and the positions of US big business. It's a choice between a president who has a strong history and record of defending our neutrality and protecting the triple lock which secures it, versus candidates who are announced as saying they want to go along with Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. They want to get rid of the triple lock in order that we can line up militarily with the same forces that are arming, funding and enabling this genocide. It's a choice between a president who will take seriously the oath. You should read the oath in the Constitution. It talks about promoting the people's welfare, versus a president who will just nod along as the government prioritises not the welfare of the people, not the children in emergency accommodation, not the renters looking to access housing, not people looking to buy the first house, but no, instead of the welfare of the people, the profits of the big developers, the corporate landlords, and the private health profiteers. For us, in People Before Profit, it's even more than that, this choice and this question of hope. It's about giving people the hope that the left can come together like we are here today, and that the 100 or more than 100-year rule of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael can be ended. That together, just as this presidential election is going to be a straight choice between Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael and Katherine Connelly, we can make the next general election a straight choice. In one corner, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael and those that are willing to prop them up, and in the other corner, those who are willing to stand for a left government that the first time would say that those who suffer from the housing crisis, those who suffer from the cost of living crisis, those who suffer from the health crisis should be at the centre of our policy rather than those who profit from those crises. The final point. In 4.5 weeks, how are we going to win this? We're not going to win it if it'll be decided by who has the biggest and shiniest and fanciest bus. They're going to have very fancy buses. We're not going to win it if it's going to be decided by the number of fancy billboards or the number of newspaper ads or how favourable media coverage we get. We will lose on those fronts. Where we're going to win it is people power. And I really think the media has not yet copped on to what's happening here. There is a movement from below where literally thousands and thousands of people have signed up to volunteer for Katherine. And we're only just beginning. That's what's going to win it. It's turning those people into teams of activists for Katherine on a constituency basis, getting the posters up tomorrow night, getting the doors knocked, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of doors over the next 4.5 weeks, and within our movements, within the trade unions, within the housing movement, within the Palestine movement, within the anti-racist movement, saying Katherine is the candidate of our movements. And within all those conversations, there'll be literally millions of conversations in the next 4.5 weeks. I think one crucial message that relates to what Eileen is saying is, what will determine whether we win or not is if we can inspire those who would not normally vote in a presidential election. Those who think it's not that important. If we have a clear message to young people, to working class people, to older people, people of all demographics, to say, you really should come out and vote. And in very simple terms, what I'm going to say to people is this, is that this is your opportunity to strike a blow against Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. This is a big step towards ending their rule. We know the presidency isn't everything. We know we need to win a general election. We know we need to have mass movements, but this can be a big step. But also, if we wake up and the election results, the opinion polls, exit polls are out, and we know that Katherine Connelly wins, think about what a massive blow it is to the government's plans to scrap our neutrality. Massive blow. So vote Katherine Connelly, number one, defend our neutrality, and elect a president who will listen to people, but even more than that, who will stand with people and will raise their voices. Thank you.
Very much, Paul. So, folks, we don't have too much time together left, but it feels like we're zoning in on, as Paul said, getting out onto the streets and knocking those doors. But in order to do that, we need a small thing called arrogance and money. And as you know, this has to date not been a big money campaign. And indeed, history is not made necessarily by big money campaigns, but it does bloody help. And so, with that in mind, many thousands of people have made small donations, fivers, tenors, and 20s, which in fact is testimony to the nature of the ground-up, groundswell, grassroots nature of this campaign. But that being said, bigger money is going to be needed, not necessarily for the fancy buses, but certainly for the posters, for the online, and for all the necessary mileage that needs to go into this big, big fight, because I don't think we can underestimate what is going to come at us as well. So there is merchandise available, which are fancy t-shirts and sweatshirts and hats and all sorts, sounds like hat scarves and, you know, anyway, we won't go there. But so please do donate, and anyone watching online, CatherineConnellyforpresident.ie, and I will leave it at that. So, Paul talked about a united left, and I suppose I would also like to say, for me, it's certainly not just about a united left, but a united Ireland. And it transcends that also. It's about a united humanity at this time. So I know Sinn Féin have been on a big journey, as have many others, and indeed many voters will be on their journey. And we respect the journeys that people go on. But I have to say, it is a great, great thing to be introducing Mary Lou McDonald to support Sinn Féin.
So listen, I'm going to respect my time very, very scrupulously, because I know Katherine and that gavel. Right? I said to her, if you pull out that gavel, I will freak. So she's promised she wouldn't. So Cordia, here we are. We are together. We are determined, and my friends, we are ready to move heaven and earth to elect Katherine Connelly as our next Uachtaráin na hÉireann. The story of the Irish nation has been written at seminal moments when we looked with courage to the Ireland that can be. An Ireland shaped by our shared values: fairness, equality, compassion, community, economic justice, and the reunification of our country. An Ireland that rises to the promise of the proclamation of the Republic, the pursuit of the happiness and prosperity of the whole nation, cherishing all the children of the nation equally. A united republic where you can have an affordable, secure house, access to timely health care, where every child has a school place, where our young people can build a good life here at home, where citizens with disabilities enjoy their full citizenship rights, where care is truly valued and carers fully respected, and where no child is left to wait and wait for surgeries that would change their lives, that would save their lives. Friends, these are the values that are hardwired into the DNA of Katherine Connelly. She is a woman of the utmost integrity, a woman of honour, who has always stood up for the voiceless and for those left behind. An ordinary, extraordinary woman, a proud Gael, driven by a vision of Ireland where the aspirations and well-being of the people come first. Katherine is about the future. And inch by inch, we are getting closer to a united Ireland. I believe that we will see unity referendums during the term of the next presidency. And Katherine Connelly will be a president who champions Irish unity in our time, because reunification is the very best way to unlock all of Ireland's incredible potential and build our new future together. Katherine is a voice for justice. She relentlessly speaks out against Israel's brutal genocide in Gaza, for an end to the occupation, for the freedom of the Palestinian people. The people of Ireland want our president to stand on the right side of history, and we know that that is exactly where Katherine stands. Katherine will speak out for Ireland's place in the world as a defender of human rights, of peace, of democracy and diplomacy. And she will defend our proud tradition of military neutrality. Let me tell you this, Jim Gavin won't do that. Heather Humphreys won't do that. So the line for this presidential election has been clearly drawn. And on one side of that line stands Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, with their desire to dismantle the triple lock and to tear down our neutrality. And on the other side stands Katherine Connelly and all of us with her, who will fight tooth and nail to stop them. And together in this campaign, we will say, hands off Ireland's neutrality. As Uachtaráin Sinn Féin, as the leader of Sinn Féin, I am delighted to back Katherine for president. The combined opposition, the combined left is uniting behind you, Katherine. This is powerful, this is uplifting. And we unite consciously to take on the stifling, broken politics of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael that has done so much damage. We come together to demonstrate that a better way is possible and available. These parties that control government have delivered nothing but failure, and they should not, they must not be rewarded for failure with the presidency. We want to get Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael out of government, and we want to keep Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael out of the Áras. This is an essential move in the fight to realise a better, fairer, equal and united Ireland. And we can do it. Is féidirling. We can take that big step to that better future by electing Katherine Connelly as Uachtaráin na hÉireann. Mar beg Katherine Connelly in a Uachtaráin the winter ilig na hÉireann. Uachtaráin a cheasan suas son ceartas agus cotram na féna, son ahéim tú ordair, son ról na hÉireann sa dawan mór, mar cusan tór the cearta an duine agus don siocháin. My friends, Katherine Connelly believes in Ireland. She believes in us. She believes in our people. She believes, she knows that we can realise that better future. And she will be a president for all the people of Ireland across our 32 counties. So I am here, and I am honoured to be here this evening to say simply this: let's do this. Let's give this everything we've got. Let's leave no stone unturned. Let's work together. Let's make this happen. And let's make sure in that fateful weekend in October that when the name of our next president is announced, that name is Katherine Connelly. Guramila Mahagan.
I'm delighted. I just realised Holly's still here. I'm worried about the baby. It's okay, the future is safe. So, we've arrived. Sorry, that was a terrible distraction. Mary Lou, thank you so much for your speech. Thank you, Roderic. Thank you, everybody. It's, as somebody that has been involved in civil society for about 25 years in youth and community work, there are many times, like many people, that it's easy to kind of grow frustrated, angry, not necessarily bitter, but we can lose faith, and we start to wonder, especially as the grey hairs start winding in, am I ever going to see another way in this small little island of promise that we hold? And so here it is upon us, you know. The recipe is within the room. It is the people, it's the passion, it's the ideas, it's the dream. It's the vision that goes beyond the presidency. It's into the streets, it's into the fields, it's across the land to have a better Ireland, a kinder, more decent, fairer island that is rooted in justice. And that's what I want to see, and I feel that right now. I do feel that. And I feel we have a president that can help bring us on that journey, and I feel I'd love to hear from her now. So, Katherine Connelly, everybody.
Céadrod rinne mé chuir mé an clog ar siúl. So tá sé ar siúl an seo, agus just I dús spára bhhat le mo bhuichas a chur anúil de Vanessa agus de Rory agus an méid ebre atá churas acu agus ag an irden bheogatá agam gur míle mágah agus a sín tu a bheith an seo, so tá búla bos tiltte ag an irden. I think it's important to thank the leader of the Green Party, Deputy Sherlock, who's here representing the Labour Party, the leader of Sinn Féin, Mary Lou, Holly Cairns, who has stayed and neglected her baby, which is independent Senator Eileen Flynn, who has finally made a laughingstock out of me, and I welcome that. She's promised that for a long time. And also to Deputy Paul Murphy from People Before Profit. I also see Deputy Brian Stanley and Seamus Seeley, and forgive me, Councillor Declan Bree from Sligo, and Táságam go bhfuil daoine taga ó ceancean na tíre agus ó ceancean blá clia chun a bheith an seo le céile. I want to thank you all for coming. I know you've travelled from all over the country and every part of Dublin. And I am overwhelmed, and I'm certainly cringing with the praise. However, I put that aside because there's something far more important happening here, and I'm simply a part of a movement. And I've said that from day one. This is a movement of energy, of vibrancy, and vision to say that we will steer the country in a different way. We will never accept the normalization of genocide. We will never accept 16,000 households. 16,000 households. We don't even know how many people without a home as collateral damage to an appalling and unacceptable neoliberal ideology that has made a philosophy of knowing the value, the price of everything and the value of nothing. A home is the most essential ingredient to give security of tenure, whether that's in a local authority house, whether that's a bought house, a rent-cost rental. It is the most basic ingredient of a society and of a republic. And it is not the collateral damage is not acceptable. A public health system, and I'll come back because I've been asked to talk a little bit about my family, which I'm reluctant to do because I'm extremely private, and so are my sisters and brothers. But perhaps I'll come back to it in a minute as to how it has shaped me. We need an integrated public transport system. We need to call out the existential threat that is climate change, posed by climate change. We need to make language mean something. We declared a climate emergency and a biodiversity emergency almost by accident back in 2019 through pressure and young children outside the Dáil that finally shamed us into declaring
a climate emergency. I'd like to tell you that that was proactive government policy. It was not. It was the power of the people on the ground and the power of our children and our young people and people of all ages that forced us to make that declaration. And I welcome that the government did that. But we have not had the transformative action that's absolutely necessary. Transformative action if we are to take serious action in relation to climate change, in relation to what we learned about our absolutely not fit for purpose public health system when the pandemic struck, when COVID struck. We've learned nothing from that either. And we are normalizing war as a way of bringing peace. The absurdity of that doesn't need any explanation from me. So I stand here as someone who made a decision with the help of the small team who worked with me and put up with me. And I made that decision, and I was asked to stop using the word tortuous. And they were absolutely right to ask me to stop using that word, but it was a tortuous decision. And it was a tortuous decision for many reasons, because who am I to say I should be President of Ireland? What gives me the right to stand here before you and say I represent you as President of Ireland? So it took me quite a long time to come to terms with that and to realise that people see in me the characteristics that they wish to see in a president. I'm not presumptuous or arrogant to say that I'm the right person. I'm responding to what people see in me. Sometimes I don't see it myself. And I take no credit for those characteristics. I got them from my father and mother and my siblings. There were 14 of us. I just take a little water, if you don't mind. I don't mind if you've tasted it first.
For your safety.
So I learned about social justice and equality on the floor of my house in Shuntala, in a working class area. I learned about being an insider and an outsider from a very early age, when my father kept us all in from a protest that was given out about travellers. And there was a traveller family moving into our area, and people protested. But we also understood that I also understood why the people were protesting, because the hypocrisy of the local authority that sought to do it in a particular way without consultation. And so, although we were inside and not participating, we saw it from both sides. And from a very early age, we learned how to see things from different perspectives, not least of which were the 14 siblings and all of those perspectives, but certainly outside of that. And so when I was asked by Sean O'Rourke, was there politics in my house a few months ago, I foolishly said no, when in fact we were infused with politics in the best sense of the word, social justice and equality. And then I went on, and I make a confession, I was a member of the Legion of Mary. And I have to say I learned my socialism from the Legion of Mary. I learned that there was a world outside of me and outside of my siblings and outside of our difficulties. There was a big world out there, and we learned how to visit people in hospital who had no visitors, and we learned how to clean houses and so on. And then I became a member of the Connolly youth group. And again, I never thought that was political. And we collected money to build a basketball court. We just did it. Then we invited the Bishop of Galway and Connolly, and we didn't know what to do at that point. We had all the work done, the money collected, and the basketball court built, but we didn't know what to do next. That's what sticks out in my mind. And then I joined the Order of Malta, which again showed me a perspective outside of myself, as well as learning first aid. We travelled the country for first aid competitions. Of course, it was where we met boyfriends as well and friends, which was very helpful. But we also learned that there was a big world out there. So when I look back on that and I say there were no politics in my house, that's very foolish. There was politics in the best sense of the word. And I'm just spotting various people down here. I didn't realise my niece and nephew are also here. You're very welcome. So I'm sharing that because I've been asked to share it as to what has formed me and what has shaped me, and it is my family. Following on from that, I had the privilege of going to college. I was a late developer. I will tell you that my approach in college was to do as little as possible and still pass exams. But by the time I got to do the LLB, I realized it was a eureka moment for me. You attend lectures and you study and you get the results. It took me quite some time to realize that. But that's what I did, and then I went on to do the BL and I became a barrister and so on. There's so many jobs in between, I won't bore you with them. But everything from a cleaner to a nurse's aide to working in a hotel as a chambermaid, along with the other professions that I have shaped me. And I've learned from every single one of them. And what I learned most was every single job is important. And in fact, the jobs of cleaners and nurses' aid are for me, equally as important as the doctor and nurses. They're the people closest to they are the people closest to the patients. And any research that I read as a clinical psychologist going back was they were instrumental in the rate of recovery of the patient. So I'm at 10 minutes now, and I'm very conscious of time, so I'm going to come back around to President. That's what shaped me. And I have regarded education as a privilege and something that gives me the confidence to say, I actually don't know things. That's what I look on education for. The more you get, the more you realize you don't know. And the confidence to say that, but I will go and check, I will go and read, I will reflect, and I'll come back. And so I have made the decision, tortuous as an all. I know somebody down there is cringing when I repeat it, so forgive me. I have never looked back since I made that decision. And I made that decision not based on party support, although I come back to the parties who made that decision very easy made that decision early for me, and then came in behind me. I made that decision as Las Ceann to stand, because it is important to stand up and be counted. We never anticipated winning the election as Las Ceann. In fact, it came as a complete shock to me, I have to tell you, because my ambition and my aim was to stand, and to stand as somebody who would unite the left, that we would not give a gift on a plate to Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael and those who joined in with them without a competition. And I made the decision to stand as president in the same manner, based on many, many messages that came to me one way or another. Having made that decision, and the parties came in behind me, I am absolutely delighted, and I want to thank each and every one of you for that. Because what's happening here is not about me. I'm just a symbol. I am a symbol of a movement that says we can do this differently. We will not normalize violence, genocide, housing, 16,000 I've said, and so on. And when we look at that, the theme is a narrative, isn't it? The strong, strong narrative that there's no other way. But we will show them that there is another way. We will show them that peace is not an unacceptable word. Genocide is unacceptable. Violence is unacceptable. Peace is not unacceptable. It is. I'm somebody who's very familiar with the Constitution, in as much as one can be familiar with the Constitution. I have read it as much as I can, and Article 12.8 has already been referred to. And under Article 12.8, the President takes a solemn and public vow to serve the welfare of the people of Ireland. To serve the welfare. And Paul has already mentioned this. A solemn and public vow. That gives a President great flexibility. The Constitution also obliges us to seek peaceful resolution to conflicts. That has become unacceptable. We're now in a world where an economy can thrive based on the military-industrial complex, and countries in Europe are boasting of the military-industrial complex that's given a boost to their economy. To me, economists have utterly failed us, the vast majority of them, in describing a growth economy based on criteria that completely ignore the military-industrial complex role, the role of carers that's never quantified, I don't like the word domestic, violence against men, women and children at a basic level costs the economy 2.5 billion per year. The failure to deal with our mental health problems in a sustainable way and providing services, extrapolating from Northern Ireland, costs something like 12-point-something billion per year. These are issues, these are facts that are never brought in to an analysis of an economy. So as President, I will do my best to reflect the values that we hold dear, the values that I use my voice for peace, that I use my voice to articulate the existential threat posed by climate change, that I will use my voice to reflect the tremendous work of communities on the ground who are under-resourced and not given enough recognition. Communities that have identified the problems they face and also the solutions, but are never resourced enough. I want to say I'm humbled by your attendance here tonight, and I'm humbled by all of those that have joined us online, and I know they've joined us from all over the country. This is a movement. Together we can do this. Together we can shape the narrative and counter the narrative of consensus that has dogged our public discourse for far too long. The narrative of consensus that allowed over 100 years of institutionalisation in Ireland, that locked up women and men in our industrial schools, in our reformatory schools, in our mother and baby homes and Magdalene Laundry. A century and more of incarceration because our republic couldn't allow questions to be put, and those that put questions were demonized and ostracized. I will put the questions, but more importantly, I want to empower and enable you to realize the power that you have. And the power is within this community and within all the communities in Ireland, and you need to use your voice and demand answers. And I'm proud to be part of that movement. I'm also proud that we have united most of the parties on the left, but I would like to think of myself as an inclusive candidate. And sometimes I describe myself as someone there's a right and a wrong, rather than a left and a right, which is, I'm sure they mightn't like. But that's my background. There is a right and a wrong, and genocide is wrong. 16,000 households and rising is wrong, and so on. So we are part of a movement. We're stronger together. Agus Creeknoy me in Gaelga, agus Jerry me gur mila mahagav. Is féidir lin is seo a wancha ma. Is féidir lina a fish ella a cur conceen, ach ober a Slavic chéile, agus gan géile don édochas. Tá sé harve tábhachtach, go bhfuil me janan dóchas a chrochu, agus dóchas a hort ar gwini oiga. So gur míle maithigh agus is onar mór domsa a bheithan seo I bhur gáilúdar.
I think we can go louder. You want to go louder? So, folks, here we are. We're at the end of the night and the beginning of the new Ireland. Before we conclude, I want to say a huge thanks to the team up above and down below, all around, the sound, the light, the venue, Vanessa, all the team at the complex. And a special thanks to all the team in the Connolly campaign that are volunteering so hard throughout the last number of weeks and months even. So, special thanks to Ava and Maeve for the music earlier. And I know you all share this sentiment, but I also want to kind of give a personal tribute to everyone in public service. And I also extend that to people across the divides of belief and ideology. While sometimes it's not easy, and I'm thinking of you, Roderic, if you don't mind me picking you out for a second. You experienced some nasty times during recent elections, and we know that Simon Harris recently and Mary Lou you've experienced, and many others as well. And I think we need a united opposition to all of that across all branches of society where misinformation, disinformation, division is entering our homes, our families, our phones, our children, to stand up, beyond this election for something bigger. And so I want to pay tribute to everyone in public service for putting themselves forward. And I know there's many public servants, representatives in the audience here as well, but also there are many activists and campaigners that I feel humbled to see, looking at you, Declan, and many others that have been around many decades and have walked and beaten the streets, and we have benefited from the victories that you have helped us achieve. And sometimes we get so downtrodden and focused on what isn't possible and the mountain we have to climb that we forget the victories that we've won. And so all of you here are testimony to that great Irish tradition of solidarity and togetherness, and this is a continuation of that legacy. So thank you, everybody, and let us forge on. So we're going to wrap up with some Ceol. Have I got? Do you want to take any questions from the press? Jim Gavin took questions from the press. Taylor Humphries took questions from the press. Are you going to take any questions from the press today? Well, you need to maybe ask a bit politer, but Excuse me. Sorry. You can shout at me all you want. Excuse me. Sorry. Excuse me, I don't know who you are. Just give me 1 second, I'll answer you. My name is Rory. I'm volunteering to MC tonight, and you've just started shouting up at me all of a sudden, right? I'm happy to engage with you, no problem at all. So if I can ask someone from the Connolly campaign to talk to this man and make an... Very significant today. She said it was very significant on the radio today, and she won't take questions, and she wouldn't take questions. Okay. Yeah, which you know she won't take questions. Okay. Okay, well listen, it's not in my remit to make that decision, but I certainly don't engage in that kind of shouting and roaring, so... So, back to the momentum of winning this election in the coming days and weeks, and that's what we're going to do. So, Sean McKenna, are you around? We have a bit of music from Sean McKenna from Ireland's hottest town at the moment, Dundalk. How are you doing? That's it, Sean. So, and we can have a united dancing performance here, but... Okay, no dancing from Paul Murphy tonight, folks.